Hi, Art Seekers. We're here in beautiful Santa Monica with public artist and performance artist and teacher Robin Murez, and it's just really such an honor to talk to you today. Thank you so much. What is it like working on the streets and having your pieces available for people to pass?
What appeals to me is the accessibility and just making everybody's lives more interesting and enjoyable, and helping to build community in ways that I think are desirable. Venice has a fantastic history. It's just so colorful, artistic, creative. It's the man who created Venice Beach, Abbot Kinney, was just such a wonderful visionary. People thought Venice was really cool, but I'm like, but where's the art? Really, where is it? I mean, it's commercial. There are fancy stores and expensive restaurants and wackiness. But so I just felt like, yes, I need to bring that art right onto the streets. And so I have created this series that I call my Venice Public Art. And it does just what you're saying. It kind of draws on the fantastic history, and in ways that in and of themselves are throwbacks to kind of interesting old-time things, and so they give you a current day feel of there being art in the community, something curious that is unexpected, and that you enjoy, and then yes, if you want to read the text, you also learn a bit of fantastic history.
Speaking of some of your cool aesthetics, can you tell us a little about your anamorphic portraits?
Sure. Well, you've seen the piece that I painted on the sidewalk in Venice. Abbot Kinney Boulevard is there, and people started to come because of articles in, the Vogue magazine saying that, or GQ saying that it's a cool place to be, but people didn't know who Abbot Kinney was. You could walk right past it. You can walk right over that sidewalk and just think, oh, what's that blob, or, keep going. But it's something that it seems like when people realize, they're thrilled and startled and amazed, and then they tell their friends. So it's this really nice, again, kind of community building experience. And there again, there is text that lets those who want read about the fantastic place that Abbot Kinney built. These pieces that I'm doing in Venice, they're not so obvious that they're giant, in your face artwork, but rather there's something you discover. And I think that also gives it a personal quality that people are really excited to have discovered something. I see a lot of murals put on buildings because that's the artwork that artist does. So no matter where they are in the world, where they are in a city, they would do the same kind of art. So it's kind of like they're putting their own living room out for everyone, which is not the way I approach it. I think more about, okay, what is this community? So in Venice, I'm doing that kind of work, and I've done sculptures for parks and street corners and a zoo, and they're actually, you were talking about how I do different kinds of work. They're also quite different because they relate to those people in those places. And so again, I like to have my work be, it's mine. It certainly always has some of those same elements, but I kind of interpret those things in different ways to more fit the site.
Sure. Your work has local resonance, which I think is amazing in LA because every neighborhood has such a distinctive personality and vibe. And so just to infuse enough of yourself and your vision, but also to incorporate that vibe, I think is a challenge. Is all of your work sanctioned?
No.
Oh, which ones aren't?
Well, I was arrested and charged with felony vandalism.
Oh, then you know you're a real street artist.
I guess so. And and then I was dubbed Robin of the Hood because it seemed quite ridiculous. I couldn't quite believe they were arresting me, and I don't think they could quite believe they were arresting me, but they did it. Had me handcuffed in the
What was the situation?
I was painting pretty little blue waves on the pavement of the streets that used to be canals. And I had actually talked to our council person 8 years prior about, as they repave those streets every 7 years to put little glass flecks in so they would sparkle and be magical. And again, it would be this somewhat subtle thing. People go, why are those streets sparkling? And they would learn, wow, we had all these canals. So it was before the garden tour, which is like the biggest event of the year in Venice Beach. And my studio was going to be on the garden tour that year. And this was, I guess, about 2 years ago. And I thought, well, I'm going to spruce up the neighborhood. Everybody's going to be walking on those streets, so it's time I do something. I can't put those glass flecks in, but I could go paint pretty little waves. And sure enough, police car drove up.
What can we expect next from Robin of the Hood?
From Robin of the Hood. Well, I'm continuing on doing these small, unexpected pieces along Abbot Kinney. People have asked for a map, so I've done that. So there's my Robin Murez map of Venice Beach. And you can follow it to go from one sculpture to the next. So I have to give them enough destinations so you could have a good bike ride.